So today we're looking at a book that examines the seizing and locking art of Chinese martial arts. Hi guys, my name is Joe and welcome to Fighting Words, the Martial Arts Library. On this channel I review martial arts books and talk about other martial arts related subjects. Today I'm reviewing the book Shaolin Chin Na by Dr. Jwing-Ming, published in 1982. Now Dr. Yang has become a prolific martial arts author. His specialty is Tai Chi Chuan and also Chin Na. His first art was White Crane Kung Fu. He later studied Long Fist Kung Fu and actually has books on both of those as well. Now in the intro of this book, it is on the seizing and locking art of Chin Na. It notes that the specific techniques that are found in this book come from the arts of White Crane Kung Fu, Eagle Claw Kung Fu, and Long Fist Kung Fu. And as such, part of the book is dedicated to the General Yu Fei, who was the legendary founder of Eagle Claw. We also get a sort of more general history of the art of Kung Fu as well. Next we get a chapter on Chin Na theory, and this covers the four major types of attack in the system. The first kind is called misplacing the bone, which works against the joints of the skeleton. The second kind is dividing the muscle, which, as it sounds, is more of grasping at the muscles of the human body and twisting them in such a way to cause harm and debilitation. The next method is sealing the breath, also known as sealing the vein. These are methods used to halt breathing, and also they are choking techniques in here as well. And the final method is called cavity press, and this is related to the acupuncture theory of Chinese martial arts and Chinese traditional medicine, and focuses on attacking various points along the human body that are related to the acupuncture meridians found in Chinese martial arts. The next chapter is on fundamental training, and that includes training in stances, training with how to build grip strength, and it also includes some fundamental escapes from holds, pushes, and grabs. In this section we'll get exercises like this one, where we're getting dynamic grip strength training as well as stance training, where he's in what we would call a bow stance and grasping at the air and pulling it tight before bringing it back, switching to the other side, and again going for that dynamic tension to increase the strength of the grip. A lot of the defenses against pushes and grabs are very basic. I think this is a valuable chapter, because those are the sort of attacks that one may find in a self-defense scenario. After that we get a chapter on massage, and this is actually surprisingly extensive. In it he will briefly address methods of massage used in Japan and Greece. He will point out that the methods of massage from the Chinese health perspective, again, takes a look at the meridians of the human body as found in traditional Chinese medicine. And to that extent, the points that one is actually massaging relate to these various acupressure or acupuncture points. Finally, we get into the technique section on the actual Chin Na techniques, and this is the longest section in the book. The format follows the same pattern as the Chin Na theory chapter, so we begin with misplacing the bone, and there are 56 techniques shown there. Most of them are primarily on the arm, in other words, the wrist, elbow, and shoulder joints, a few in the fingers as well, but we also get things like attacking the legs, he shows a dislocation of the jaw, there's attacks to the neck as well. Following that are 15 techniques for the dividing the muscle category of attacks, and those basically consist of, grabbing the trapezius, grabbing the tricep, and so on. Following that, we get sort of a brief interlude where the author shows a few techniques for replacing the bones that have been dislocated. I would encourage my readers to actually get training in Western first aid rather than relying on these methods, but it is notable that they are presented here. Following that is the more advanced Chin-Na section, and we begin that with sealing the breath or the vein. There are 10 techniques for that, and again, they consist of everything from like striking the solar plexus in order to, cause the diaphragm to spasm so it's harder to breathe, to things that you will recognize as being chokes against the throat or strangulations against the carotid arteries. Lastly, he lists 36 cavity targets, and again, these are related to the acupuncture points found in traditional Chinese medicine. These cover a variety of points from head to literal toe. One of the points that's listed, for instance, is the bottom of the foot. And he says that there's no cure for a heavy attack there. When he addresses these points, we get the location of the point. He shows it on a picture and it's labeled. He will list the different methods of attacking, and earlier in the book we did see some hand forms like eagle claw and tiger claw and various fists, and he lists what types of attacks from that list of different fist and hand forms are useful for attacking these points. He will give it its Chinese name, as well as describing the effects that one can experience. Again, I'm sort of dubious about some of these. I doubt that pressing your thumb into the foot really hard is going to cause death, but that's sort of what's listed here. The final full chapter shows defenses against barehanded or empty-handed attacks, as well as attacks with a knife. And again, a lot of these are locking techniques against the arm primarily. Most of the empty-handed attacks are shown as punches. And finally, we get an appendix section. One of the appendices is showing the major pressure points with the qi circulation times. So some are supposedly more active at certain points in the day, and so on. And then we get a glossary of Chinese terms in one of the appendices as well. As far as the prose go, I think it lists the principles very well, including those when it comes to things like the cavity press and the pressure points, even though I'll get to a con on that in a second. I also appreciate the variety of attacks that it shows, and again, this is anywhere from, striking at the top of the head to attacking the bottom of the foot, but also locking techniques for the jaw, as well as the neck, various strikes to wind someone, to take away their breath. So I appreciate the variety of techniques that it shows here. As far as the cons go, I think it could be organized somewhat differently. I don't understand why we interrupted sections talking about martial arts theory for massage, why that wasn't sort of given its own section perhaps earlier in the book. I think it would have been a good idea to perhaps have the joint relocations, the healing methods, also given their own section instead of sort of interrupting the more martial artsy section of the book. And then there's the reliance on traditional Chinese medicine, for activating certain pressure points and their supposed effects, which I'm incredibly dubious about. As far as recommendations go, I think generally if you are a student of Chinese martial arts, this is a pretty valuable book. I think if one is interested in learning how to subdue someone without necessarily strikes, like, you know, maybe if you're a bouncer and you find yourself in situations where maybe it's a good idea to go for an arm lock or a wrist lock instead of punching the guy, you know, maybe this would have some value for them. And I think for general self-defense, the dissolving the grips and, you know, deflecting the pushes and things like that, I think that section is valuable, although maybe not worth the cost of the entire book. So that's all I have for now. This is a book that you guys voted for. I am getting around to these slowly but surely. I hope you appreciated this review, and I'll see you guys around.